This is it. Winter is upon us. Yesterday I walked past the village ground and it was snowed over. Pristine whiteness. Relief. I won't be playing cricket for a while. But 9,051 miles away, Perth welcomes the Indian tourists to the Lion's Den. Australia don't lose at Perth. Not really. And India seek redemption. Their 3-0 defeat to the mighty Kiwis still raw. Runs will be a finite resource, like precipitation in the outback. The icons will be there. The names. Cummins, Kohli, Lyon, Pan, Ashwin, Smith, Heady. But beware of new faces, new toys in the mix. McSweeney, Esperan, brace for the rampant new ball, it will play its tricks. It's the first of a 5-test summer. I watch in the cosy warmth, neutral, unbothered, unbiased. Ray watches wearily. He prepares for the early starts, waking up in a cold sweat, bracing for India 4 for 78. He dreams of Kohli hundreds, grittiness from Jurel and Bumrah-induced carnage. Get ready. It's Border-Gavaskar again. The festivities await. Hello and welcome to Behind the Stumps. I'm very excited for this one. I've never been more excited for a neutral series, I don't think, where England aren't involved. I'm here with just Ray today. Luke, I think he's moving into a new house, so he can't be with us. Ray, first of all, how are you, and how nervous / excited are you for Friday and the first Test match in Perth?
I'm all good, mate, and I'm very much excited for the series. It's been so long since India visited Australia or England and to play a Test match. So I'm very much excited to see this young Indian side, literally young Indian side, to how they play in down under. And you pretty much summarized everything in the starting preview. That's so brilliant, mate.
Thank you. I think let's just crack on with, the main talking points from Perth. We'll start with India. That's what most of our listeners want to hear about. Hopefully we can tap into an Australian audience at some point. So I was looking this morning, and according to Sports Star, this is the likely starting 11 for India. So we've got Yashasvi Jaiswal and Eswaran opening up, KL Rahul at 3, Virat Kohli, Rishabh Pant, Dhruv Jurel, Ravindra Jadeja, Nitesh Kumar Reddy, Bumrah captaining. We'll get to his captaincy later on. Mohammad Siraj and Akash Deep. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this, the starting 11, and would you make any changes, and what would they be if so?
Maybe no. Yeah, so I would like to bring in Washington Sundar into the 11 to make it as additional bowling and plus a batting lineup. Now, Shubman Gill is injured. Why don't we try Washington Sundar at number 3?
Yeah.
He played a last 2 and he has a pretty good average in that Test match, just 48 in Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we try? And he's in good nick as well. He played some brilliant knocks not brilliant, decent knocks against New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we try Washington Sundar? He can
bowl some off spin as well. He's got form in Australia, hasn't he?
Yeah, he got form, and with Mitchell Starc creating that crash in the pitch, which assists Nathan Lyon, so which may assist Washington Sundar as well for his off spin. So it will be a decent try, but we need to drop either of KL Rahul or Jadeja to do that. But that's a risky one to do by the Indian management. I think they'll stick with the lineup you said earlier.
Yeah, I've got question marks over Jadeja. I can't say his name for some reason. Jadeja the most, I think. Just, he's looked probably the most ineffective with the ball that he's ever looked, probably in the most recent series against New Zealand. Is it just sticking with what you know and hoping he can pull out performances that we know he can pull out? Or do you think, you've already said it really, would you say they should be maybe more proactive, even, dare I say it, looking to the future a bit more with Washington?
Yeah, hopefully he'll play at some point, but I don't think Indian management will drop Jadeja from the first test because He's good in fielding, batting, and bowling as well. So he's a all-format player, all-rounder.
Yeah.
So he's good in the taking catches, which is very much important in down and especially in test matches.
Hmm.
He can drop many, so and he can bat as well with the tailenders.
Yeah.
So I don't think they will drop Jadeja, but maybe it's good that KL will open with uh, SSV Jaiswal, and
Hmm.
we will try Washington Sundar at number 3,
Yeah.
given Subman Gill is injured.
Yeah. So another selection, which I think is, I mean, we're perhaps talking about selections a little bit prematurely, but Abhimanyu Eswaran is likely to debut. He's got four not 7,674 runs at 48.87 in first class cricket. You pulled a face as if to say, not sure about his selection. I agree, having looked at some of his recent numbers. So across the 4 innings in the Australia A series, he made 36 runs. There's one duck in there. I think off the top of my head, he high scored of 12. Um, and looking at some of the India A, the Australia A highlights, he was run out in the first game, and he got out to Nessa with a bit of a perler, rose up from a good length. But on Australian pitches, that's the reality of what you're going to face. You're going to have to try and just get out of the way of those ones, or try and play them into the ground. What do you think of his selection? I think it's a funny one.
Yeah,
But
so Abhimanyu Ishwaran, is in the scheme of things for a long, long time. But I don't think Australia will be a perfect place for him to debut because he played for Bengal, which is northeast part of India,
yeah.
which is Bengal. We have the Eden Gardens is the stadium for Bengal. It's normally has a spin. It's not
Hmm.
no bounce at all. So he played in those stadiums for most of his career. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's perfect for him to debut in the Perth Test, especially. It will be a risky option, but we don't have Rohit Sharma and Shubman
Yeah.
Gill, so we need two new players in the top three. KL has been batting in the lower number 5, 6 for the last 10 or 12 Test matches, so we need
Hmm.
two new batsmen in the top three. It's either Washington Sundar or Abhimanyu Ishwaran needs to play in the top three.
Uh-huh.
My gut feeling, I wish Washington will play ahead of Agmani Ishwaran because he has a experience playing in down under and he bowls off spin as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the Indian manager will go ahead with Abhimanyu Ishwaran because he has the numbers in the top order. Washington Sundar never played in the top 3 for India. He batted at number 4 for Tamil Nadu, which is his domestic team, and he scored 100 a month back in a domestic competition at number
Yeah.
4. Mm, and it's a tough call, but hopefully he will come good and prove me wrong. So I'm hoping Abhimanyu will go good if he debut in the
Yeah.
Perth Test.
Try and hoping he keeps Rohit out of the side. Somehow I doubt that'll happen. I also want to talk about Dhruv Jurel. Definitely a different vibes on his selection. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer with his form and his game, really. So I was watching the second India A, the Australia A highlights. This is old news, I suppose. But it's relevant when we're talking about this series, obviously. I just thought he showed great temperament, had a really quite slow start to his innings. Had maybe 20 odd off 80 balls, I think it was something like that. And then was able to accelerate with the tail really, really impressively. He was hitting it all over the park, shot square, behind square on both sides, through the covers, down the ground. He had everything in his locker. And I think my favourite shot is where he flicked a fuller ball straight over third man's head for 6. He's just really impressive. I've got nightmares from when he got 90 odd against us last in February earlier this year, and I think he's really one who will be sticking around in the Indian side if he gets his just deserves. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, no, you perfectly summarized Dhruv Jurel's gameplay, mate. So he's He's one of the player who has a temperament and he's so calm under pressure. Especially when you're batting with the tailenders, you need calmness. Because at one end they may lose wickets, but you have to maintain the calm and rotating the strikes with the tailenders. He has that ability to do. So
Yeah.
he's one of the players who I'm really excited to watch in Down Under because he made his debut 2 series back against England. He's
Hmm.
still a new face, but he has the potential to go and achieve big things for India. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited for him to unleashing his abilities in Down Under and helping India to win. So I'm really excited for him to for him to play in this series. Uh, let's see how he goes. And he's apart from him, Yashasvi Jaiswal. This is his first tour for in Australia. He has the already shown the cricketing world what his capability is. But
Yeah.
this is a big test for him because it's his first test, and Australian quicks are going to attack him with short balls into the body.
Yeah.
Let's see how he cope up with that and come up against that.
Yeah. Just from seeing that lineup, you've got Pant at 5 as well. I'll be really excited to see those two coming together because they're both so effective with the tail. But you sense that Jurel could play the supporting role to Pant whilst he severs the head of the Australian attack if all goes to plan. So I think looking at that team, that's the partnership that Australia will fear. They need the Indian openers to give them a base, even if it isn't that many runs. Just get the bowls a bit more tired, get the ball worn down a little bit more, because you don't want those two going in after 10 overs, which we know probably could happen, probably will happen at some point over the 5 tests. So I'm excited. I think I'm hoping the Indian openers can bat long enough for me to wake up at a normal
Yeah,
hour so I can watch them bat.
yeah. Especially in Perth, when you see the records of the Perth stadium, the team which bat first in the first innings is obviously won the test match in all the 4 matches. So what India needs to do is win a toss, choose to bat first, and bat big. Because the first 1.5 days in the Perth Stadium will quietly assist for batting. That's what the record says. Australia won all the 4 Test matches in Optus Stadium by choosing to bat first and
Yeah,
score 350, 400 runs. So
yeah,
what India needs to do is hopefully will win the toss, choose to bat, and the top three either of one or two batsmen need to score a century, and
yeah,
we'll need to score a minimum of 400. If we score 400 in first innings of the first test, I'm sure India will win the test match. But that's the
yeah.
toughest thing to do
So
because
How should they go about it if they do lose the toss and a bang second? What's the game?
if we lose the toss,
There's got to be
yeah,
thought towards that very 50-50 possibility.
yeah. If toss not goes by our way, then the only way of a hope is Jasprit Bumrah. We need to run through their Australian top order by minimum of 350 or under 300. If we
Mm.
control them under 300, it will be a good chance because the highest fourth innings run is score is 338 by West Indies, but no other team has successfully chased a score in Optus Perth Stadium. It's been only 4 Test matches, but still no team has
Yeah,
ever chased a score. So
yeah,
if we chase 150 or 175 in the fourth innings, if we lose the toss, then we have a chance. Anything more than 200 is no chance, I feel. So
yeah.
hopefully we'll win the toss, choose to bat first, bat big, and win the test
And
match.
go
That's the
from
only
there.
way.
Yeah. So moving on slightly, I just wanted to ask about the captaincy situation for the first test. Obviously, Rowett's not going to be there. I think correct. I mean, I don't really even have the right to have an opinion on this, but correct decision. We're welcoming the birth of a new child. Congratulations to him. I'm sure you're listening, Rowett. And it's going to be Jasprit Bumrah, he's captained 1 test before against England in July 2022. It was that sort of that 5th test that never got played because of a COVID outbreak within the India squad. And it was quite a famous win for England. They won by 7 wickets. It was probably one of the first statement wins of the Brendan McCullum, Ben Stokes era. He's also, I read this morning, led the team for one innings. It was England batting in Dharmashala when Rohit got injured with a side strain, and India won that one. I personally think they'll miss Rohit's leadership. And I think it's like I've got quite, boring, typical reasons for why I think Bumrah will struggle. I think, he lacks experience in the role. I think he's going to really struggle balancing his bowling, especially on a deck where he knows he's the man to do the damage, that he's going to may end up over bowling himself a little bit. Because, he might be thinking a bit too much. I've got to be the man who takes 5 or 6 wickets in an innings to get, especially, let's say, in the scenario that Australia do bat first. He will know he's got to take 5 or 6 wickets,
Yeah.
So I think it's crucial that other senior players in that India setup, Virat Kohli, Rishabh Pant, kind of come together to create a bit of a sort of joint leadership. I know you need one person being the ultimate authority, otherwise it becomes a bit of a nightmare. But I think it'll be useful for Kohli and Pant to, maybe give Bumrah a tap on the shoulder after 6 or 7 overs. Say, come on, man, you need to rest, otherwise you're just going to run yourself into the ground for the rest of the series or whatever. So you've been nodding your head a lot, which I'm pleased to see. Do you agree pretty much?
I totally agree with you, mate. So, yeah, I totally agree with you. So, it happened to India in the last series as well. Virat captained only for the first test match, and then he left. He went to India because of his personal reason, and Rahane lead India for the rest of the series.
It's unbelievable.
And
right?
with the Bumrah, he has been always a leader of the group. Like, he's been the leader of the bowling attack. He has that leadership skills. So it's nothing new for him, but he didn't have sweet memories in his first test match as a captain. So he's really keen to change that. And it's one of a start of the series. So, and especially India lost a test series against New Zealand at home. Now it's like the expectation of Indian fans is really low. I have spoken with some of my Indian friends. They have the less amount of hope with this Indian team to win a test match in down under. So it's like kind of a good thing for Bumrah because there's no expectation. So it's like if he lose the test match, there's not much of say against him. So it's like a little bit of advantage for Bumrah. And Rishabh Pant has done a leadership role in IPL as well. So we have some senior guys who is here to assist Jasprit Bumrah if needed. So it's kind of a leadership group which gives some vision to Jasprit Bumrah, but he is the guy who's going to make the decisions in the field. He has the authority. So it's like Jasprit Bumrah has his players to assist with him. So hopefully he'll succeed in his captaincy this time, unlike against England, and will gain help India to win a test match. And as a bowler, he has the main role to play. But with I hope Siraj will step up because Siraj has not been in fine form for the last 5 or 6 test matches. But Australia is the place where he likes to bowl. The pitches assist with him, and Akashdeep is also in good form. So with these pace trio, will likely to succeed against the Australian batters. But Australian batters are also in fine form. And now Smith moves back to his favorite position.
Yeah.
So it's
like
a tough task for the Indian bowlers.
Yeah. So Ray, you've jumped the gun a tiny bit. So next on the agenda that I've got written down is the Australian likely starting team, and it's pretty much bang on just what you'd expect. Usman Khawaja and Nathan McSweeney up top, Marnus Labuschagne, Steve Smith, Travis Head, Mitch Marsh, Alex Carey, Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, Nathan Lyon, and Josh Hazlewood. Pretty much, I've just written below that, it's the old guard. We all know exactly what they can do, what their capabilities are. One fun stat which I saw was that Marnus Labuschagne averages 103 in 3 tests at Optus Stadium. So he loves it there. So he's going to be a bigger wicket than usual. Coming in at 3, the only new face opening up with Usman Khawaja is Nathan McSweeney, who averages 38 in first-class cricket and had a really solid A series with scores of 39, 88 not out, 14 and 25. And I thought those last 2 scores, they don't look great, but on that pitch, especially at the start of the innings in the second game, it was very tough. It was tough going. So, making things a bit easier for the middle order, following them in, will have been really useful. And yeah, it's been a bit of a strange one with Sam Constas, Marcus Harris, and Cam Bancroft all fighting it out. Bancroft struggled a lot in both those games. Constas got a few runs. He got 70 odd at the end in the second innings of the second game. And Harris, I think it was in the first game he did. And I think they've just gone for the new guy. They've gone for the blooding in the new player, perhaps realising, it gets spoken about a little bit that one of the great Australian sides, they're all going to need to retire at once. So Khawaja's 39, I think. Smith's getting on. Cummins is getting on a little bit. Lyon's getting on a little bit. And at some point, there's going to have to be some changes. And perhaps they're looking at that and going, yeah, we need to start bringing in some new players. Have you managed to watch McSweeney play too much, Ray, or got any insight that I don't have?
No, so to be honest, I haven't seen him play really as much. But with David Warner retired from the Australian setup, it's a big shoes to fill for Nathan McSweeney. They tried the legend Steve Smith in the opening, but still he hasn't succeeded the expectations. So given the name Steven Smith, struggling in the opening, so it's like a bit of a tough challenge for Nathan McSweeney because domestic competition and international is quite different. The bowlers you faced, it's quite different, and to face Jasprit Bumrah for the first time is also a tough challenge given his action and the pitch also assists to him. So it's going to be a tough challenge for Nathan McSweeney, and the loss of Cameron Green. It's a big thing for Australia, I feel.
It's big. Yeah, no, it's big. Because you lose a bowler and you lose one of the best batters and a very, very good bowler, especially in Australia.
Yeah. He made debut against India in the last Border-Gavaskar trophy in Australia, and he did so well. So it's a real big miss for them. And Mitch Moss is expected to do the role which was done by Cameron Green. But let's see, the Australian middle order is looking so good with Travis Head, Mitch Moss, and Steve Smith. So these three, with Travis Head and Mitch Moss is so explosive. On the other end, Steve Smith, he has the control and defense to play alongside those guys. And you said earlier, so Marnus Labuschagne has a staggering average in Perth, but he's been struggling in Test matches for the last few months. So it's a great opportunity for him to come back into the Test form, given the average he has in Optus Stadium. But I don't, as an Indian fan, I don't want them to score runs against Indian lineup. But it's been more than a decade since Australia won a Test series against India, so they're very, very keen to go hard against India.
They've got to win this.
Yeah, they've got
to win this. The pressure is off India a little bit, I think.
Yeah, it's like they don't want to win a Test match by hard. It's like they want to hammer India. It's like a revenge for them to for the last 4 series. They really want to hammer India by 5-0, 4-0. I'm sure that's their mindset will be. So, but I don't feel, as an Indian fan and as a cricket fan, I don't feel they will run against this Indian side because we do have a quality bowling attack.
Yeah.
Our batters must be, little bit of underconfident again because of the New Zealand Test series. But I feel our bowlers have a quality to pick 20 wickets. So it's going to be an exciting series to watch as a cricket fan. I'm sure you as well. You were excited to
Yeah, I'm
watch
very.
this
I'm
series as
excited to
well.
be a neutral, to be honest. Not get too stressed out, whatever happens. And I just
Yeah.
sort of on the whole, the difficulty that McSweeney faces, especially with Bumrah, is like scoring runs in Australia during the Australian summer, during Australian opening spells, especially, are some of the finest runs you can come by. I think just because it's so difficult at the start of an innings. There's a lot of it's bouncing unevenly throughout the innings. You need plenty of guile out there. And I was listening to The Great Cricketer a couple of weeks ago now. They did a really, really insightful interview with Usman Khawaja, who was talking about difficulties opening the batting in Australia. And he said that batting is a lot more difficult than it was a decade ago for him. He said, when I first started playing first class cricket, the wickets were better. They were flatter, easier to bat on. And he pointed out that Kookaburra ball have got a new raised seam, which Khawaja said was the biggest change in Australian cricket for a long time, because it helps the wobble seam and it helps lateral movement with the seam hitting the deck and bouncing either side, getting to get seam. So I think you've got two debutants opening the batting one for both side for each side, and I just think it a real baptism of fire. I just don't think it doesn't get any harder really. So I'm just really interested. I'm hopeful that they both do all right actually, because I just think it's such a difficult circumstance to be introduced into.
So I think it's not two, it's three. SSV Jaiswal is also new in Australia with
Yeah,
Abhimanyu Easwaran,
true.
SSV
Good
Jaiswal,
point.
and Northern McSweeney. So, but
Mm.
I feel Northern McSweeney has a little bit of edge over the Indian openers because he's from Australia. But I think it is
Oh,
first.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, I think it is first innings as an opener because he's been batted number three for his full up career, I guess. Northern McSweeney.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
he's batting at three and opening the batting is doesn't no much a big difference between batting at three and opening the batting, but still it's like one person higher. So it's going to be a tough challenge for both teams openers. It's
yeah.
at the
I
same.
think it is a
So
lot different. I think middle order, well, maybe the three isn't quite middle order batting, it's top order, isn't it? But I think McSweeney's also batted lower down at 4 and 5 occasionally as well. And I do think that there's a huge difference opening up compared to any other position, just because you're straight into battle. I think a big thing is you've been in the field potentially for quite a long time, potentially a whole day, maybe longer, and suddenly you've got maybe some quick wickets fall at the end of an innings, and suddenly within 5 overs you're off the pitch again, and you are straight out there. You don't get any sort of breather, and you've got to still probably bat, especially this series, bat during the most difficult period of a whole innings. So I think it's going to be really, really tough.
fresh legs of bowlers as well. Bowlers are so fresh; they'll be all guns firing. So it's
Mhm,
tough to open the batting.
mhm. For both, I think what is good is the Bumrah factor. Means obviously Australia's quicks are probably overall they are superior to India's, with Stark and Hazelwood and Cummins. But I'm glad India have Bumrah, because that does even up the contest. Because Bumrah is better than all of those three bowlers I've named before, even if his supporting bowlers aren't as good.
Yeah,
Ray,
no, yeah.
go on, yeah,
To
go on.
be so, there's no comparison between bowlers. Australia have the experience of playing in Australia and playing in Test match. All Mitch Stark, Pat Cummins, and Joe Sesaloot has picked more than 300 wickets. So they have
Mm,
the experience, and with experience of Nathan Lyon as well. He is the highest wicket taker in Perth Stadium,
mhm,
surprisingly, house spinner. So
yeah,
their bowling attack is far more experienced than this Indian bowling lineup. But our bowlers have the capacity, to pick abilities to pick the 20 wickets. It's not like a matchup, but it's still, I feel, our bowlers are good enough to pick the 20 wickets in a test match.
yeah. Uh, Ray, predictions. So I'm going to do my own first. I
Okay.
think Australia are going to win the series. I think India are just so unsettled with their selections. There's going to be so many changes throughout. There's going to be Rohit coming back, probably being in Shupman Gill hopefully comes back, and there's probably going to be injuries at some point. Maybe Safras Khan will need to come in at some point. Compared to Australia's continuity, their superior knowledge of conditions at home will just about get them over the line. But I think it's going to be a tight series. I think it'll be 3-2. I think India will react. There'll be a big reaction from their defeat to New Zealand, and it's probably going to be easy. I think Indian batters will be happy to be out of India for a bit to have a change of the decks there. I think it's going to be really tight. I do think Australia will win the first test in Perth, but it's definitely not a done deal. No way. I'm interested to hear what you think.
Yeah. So before the prediction, you said about the change of decks. Virat is love batting in Australia. So
Mm-hmm.
now with the ball will not spin, and he scored the first 100 in this stadium. So the first Test century in the stadium is scored by Virat Kohli. So
Yeah.
he's roaring to go. And Australia is quite a big country with they have different time zones within the country itself. So it's really tough for any visiting team, any visiting player to play in Australian conditions. So right now I don't want to talk much about the series because the first test match of a 5 match series, which is going to happen for 2 months. So the first test match is really, really important for both the teams. So
Mm-hmm.
if India want to win a test match in Perth, which no other team has done that before against Australia. So if India want to win, they need to bat first, score big, playing some aggressive brand of cricket.
Yeah.
That's the only way to win a test match. As
Yeah.
an Indian fan, I want India to win, but as a cricket fan, I
Yeah.
also personally agree with you and give Australia the edge of 60% to win a test
Yeah.
match with India 40.
And just a final little bit of insight about the pitch that the players will face at Perth before we move on. Is that there's been a day of rain in the build-up, which has changed the usual preparation. The pitch curator was interviewed yesterday and said that he expects some variable bounce, but not the classic whacker cracks, is what he said, referring to the old ground at the whacker. But I think he was looking to create a similar deck. But the lack of sunshine means they haven't been able to bake it out in the sun and get the usual deadly cracks. And Isaac McDonald, the Western Australia cricket head curator, who's a different guy, he said quite dramatically, "This is Australia, this is Perth. I'm setting ourselves up for really good pace, really good bounce, and really good carry." It's exactly what you would expect from Australia, from an Australian pitch, from a Perth pitch. So it's set for tough batting and good for the seamers and very, very exciting cricket, which starts on Friday morning, 2 a.m. in the UK. Ray, do you know what time it starts for our Indian listeners?
So for India, it starts at 7:30
7:30 in the evening.
in the morning.
In the morning. That's a bit easy for them.
Yeah.
Right, sweet. Moving on. We'll be brief because I haven't watched any of it. But England won the T20 series in the Caribbean 3-1. They won the first game by 8 wickets, chasing 182 in Bridgetown. Phil Salt looked very good for his 103 not out. Second game, they won by 7 wickets, chasing 158 with 4.5 overs left. They won the third by 8 wickets, chasing 149, and lost the fourth game by 5 wickets with the West Indies chasing 218 before the last game was rained off very early doors. Every game was won by a team chasing. And there's a really interesting piece by Cam Ponsonby pointing out that the 4 p.m. starts, 4 p.m. in the Caribbean, to suit UK viewers, detracted from the quality of the game. Ray, you've got my thoughts on the series are I didn't watch it. I was busy. I have no opinion on it, I'm afraid.
So it's like, as you said correctly, the game is moving towards the commercialization. People want money from the game. That's what moving the game forward as well, which is a good thing. But the early start of a game, indicates that because West Indies are one of a cricket board which don't earn much of a money, so it's like the early start is essential for them to attract the English viewers.
Yeah.
And
So
with the series win, I feel, shall we say it as a you know redemption for the English white ball side, or a start of a new era in the English white ball side, because
yeah,
I think
Butler
the young
looks better.
players, yeah, the young
Butler looked more
players,
invigorated for it.
yeah. So the young players in the side are looking so good. I'm really excited for Jacob Bethel, and with
Yes,
IPL auctions coming
correct.
this Sunday, yeah. So with IPL auction coming in this Sunday, so the
Hmm.
players who performed so good in the England versus West Indies T20 series will get some good amount of money in their purse. I feel like the guys like Jacob Bethel, Josh Butler will obviously go for a higher price. So
Yeah,
Jacob Bethel, Sam Curran, there's so many good England players who will future. I'm hoping they will future in the IPL and get a taste of the Indian pitches in the next summer.
yeah. So just to give a bit of context for what's happening in the Caribbean before we wrap up for today, that the team batting always struggled because the wickets were at their worst under the afternoon sun, and then the dew would settle in the evening, which improved conditions for batting and also made the ball slippery, so it was more difficult when bowling. It was also unfair on local people who were unable to attend the start of games because they were at work. And this also I agree that this detracts from the TV spectacle when you see there's no one in the grounds. West Indies captain Rovman Powell said after the first T20 game um, that the best case is for the game to start at 7 p.m. When we looked at the schedule and realised it would start at 4 p.m., we knew that that would be a problem. And after the Windies won the fourth game, he said, it's one of the first times I've seen in the Caribbean that once you win the toss, you win the game. It's too skewed. That just sums up the points that we've already come across. Perhaps they should just worry about what I think they should be more concerned about fans in the host country, because the cricket comes around according to the season to different places around the world. Cater for the English audience when it's the games being played in England. I get the rights deal thing, but I don't want to just completely regurgitate what Cam Ponsonby said. But eventually, you're going to be in a cycle of decline where the spectacle gets worse because the quality of cricket is diminished because of these changing conditions. That and they plus viewers back home in England see that there's no one there. They're probably less enthused by the poor cricket and that lack of enthusiastic in the host nation, so aren't as bothered. And then it just keeps going like that until you have no one watching anyway. Ray, have you got any more
Yeah. So
thoughts on that?
yeah, mate, I totally agree with you. I personally feel cricket is not a game played only with bat and ball. So play cricket, we need everything, like from the environment, pitches, climate. We need everything to be perfect, and supporting the team. That's when he will win a test, win any matches.
Mm,
So it's kind of a thing, especially in cricket. But let's see. Hopefully, things will change and everything will be perfectly for both the teams which compete in any format or any competition.
yeah. Ray, have you got anything else you'd like to talk about before I wrap up for today?
Maybe the another exciting thing in the for the cricketing fans is IPL auction. It's going to happen for 2 days, which
Yes.
is Sunday and Monday. So it's going to be I don't know how much excited you are, but I am really very much excited as like the test match is going on. So
Hmm.
let's see
I'm less excited. I think it's
yeah,
all a bit
which players
weird
are
that the
going to which
team.
teams.
Sorry, Ray. Can you continue and then I'll make
So,
my short point before wrapping up?
so it's like so the team which is going to which the picks sorry the teams which will pick the players in this action is going to have the players for the next 3 years. So it's like a change of teams for every player apart from few.
Hmm.
So I'm really excited for the action coming up. With lots and lots of crores and crores of Indian money is going to spend to the players, and
Okay.
it's like kind of bargaining and it's quite exciting to see players getting sold. Like by so I'm really excited. And with the England kind of setup, like James Anderson will
I
go
hope he
under the
gets
hammer this
picked.
time. Will go under the hammer this time. Josh Butler. There's so many exciting England talents as well. So I hope some of the England fans are also excited to watch the IPL action, which is going to telecast in Sky Sports, I guess. So
Uh-huh.
if the England fans want to watch the IPL action, go and catch the IPL action at Sky Sports.
Yeah, I think it's all a bit weird that it's in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it's
I just think it's weird.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that fact. I just don't. My gut instinct tells me that's a bit of an odd thing. But yeah, I'm not as excited as Ray for the IPL. I'm gonna try and get into it. I said this last year. I'll try and get into it. I'm sure we'll be doing an extensive IPL preview that we actually record properly this time around. Because we tried to do one last year and it didn't work. And maybe I should try and do some proper IPL coverage this time around. But that's all to come in February, in January.
Yeah, so the IPL will start from end of March, I guess. From February and January, we'll be seeing the Champions Trophy.
Yeah. So this has been Behind the Stumps. We're very excited for the Border-Gavaskar. We hope it's as an exciting a series as we've made it out to be. Good luck to both sides. I secretly probably would prefer India to do well than Australia, just about. Ray, thanks so much for joining me as always.
Thanks for the time, and thanks to all the listeners. And that was, come on India, let's win the test match.
Yeah. Again, please subscribe. It'd be class to get a few more subscribers on the YouTube. And please comment.
Yeah.
I'll keep banging that drum. If you're still listening, especially, it'd be great for you to comment. Just maybe, I don't know, what do you think is going to happen? Who do you think is going to win? Thanks so much for listening. We will be back after the first test to give our thoughts, give you the lowdown. Thank you very much.